Hello, JD. Hello, JD.
All right, good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me? Good morning.
Morning.
All right, so I am JD and I will be your moderator for today's program. Before we begin, I would like to ask everyone to focus our attention to the screen as we start with our Philippine national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, pelos ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa dibdib mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, buyan ka ng magiting, sa manlulupig, di ka masisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo baka, ay nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang tinamahal. Ang kisap ng watawat mo'y nagumpay na nagdidilim, ang bituin at araw niya kailan mapagay pagdidilim. Lupa ng araw ng maraming pagsita, layalangin sa likod. Aming ligaya naman may mamagin, at kamatay ng tayo sa'yo.
All right, so hello again. So I would like to greet everyone a happy International Mother Earth Day, and I would like to welcome you all to our activity for today, the Ask a Curator program. So, as the museum actually joins the world in participation and observance of the Earth Day. So we are, of course, with one voice in protecting and restoring our planet for from environmental degradations. So are you with us in joining the world to actually be an agent to restore our Earth? Sige nga, if you are with us, can I see some exclamation points in our chat box so we can see that we all are in this one. All right, thank you. So I see lots of exclamation points. Thank you so much. So let us restore our earth. That is the theme of today's celebration as we aim to promote the museum and of course other government agencies to be an environmental sustainable institution in reducing different kinds of waste, including reducing our carbon footprints, and while we manage our collections and of course prepare the exhibitions for you. So thank you so much for joining us today. So I guess we still have participants waitlisted there. So we will wait for a bit for them to be in our Zoom. And we are live on YouTube. Please, if you have friends who are in social media right now, just ask them to follow our channel in YouTube, National Museum of the Philippines, and we are live there. Right? So I would like to welcome you all formally, especially the diverse audience that we have today. I'm happy that one of our goal today for the Ask Curator is to expose our work, our functions in the museum to you guys, so you can appreciate how we work and how we protect and conserve our natural heritage, and of course how the museum participates in restoring the planet. Okay, so to welcome our participants, I will just give you a roll call. Masaya kami na maraming registrants. So we are more than 100, and we also have audiences that are in YouTube. So we have high school students, university faculty from UST, we have from San Beda, we have from Far Eastern University, PUP, PNU. Welcome, welcome everyone. We have teachers from the Department of Education. We have research specialists from our other government agencies. Some are from DNR, NHCP. We also have museum guides, And of course, undergraduate and graduate students, welcome to our program today. Okay, so some webinar reminders. I'm sure that you are all familiar with this since you're joining most of our webinars, of course. So please let us keep our audio and our video off during the session to lessen distractions and lagging of connections. Later, I will give instructions on how we can accommodate questions for our curators, because this is the first program that we have. We will engage the audience on your inquiries about the museum and the curators or the workers of it. Okay? So the program will actually be having three parts. Okay, the first part will involve pre-recorded presentations of our curators that are that we recorded based from the questions that you have submitted. It's just a short video that you can see. Perhaps some of you are here already. Na you can see your questions there. So yeah, and the part two will be the some questions again that you submitted in your pre-registration. Plus, you will have more than 1 hour of asking questions for our curators. So you can do that in the chat box, and we have our friends in the technical team. We can get your questions, and we will distribute them to our curators in a manner of disciplines or in a manner of criteria such as research, collection management. So if you have personal questions, yeah, please maximize the use of our chat box, right? So sige po. To formally welcome you all today, it is my honor to introduce our Deputy Director General for Museum, Dr. Ana Maria Teresa P. Labrador.
Hello. Good morning to everyone. I'm so happy that a lot of people joined us this morning. This is a pioneering program for us. This first time we tried it. Although before the pandemic, we did have curatorial tours that were run by those designated as curators, but also those that are responsible for certain collections, our researchers. No? So although we always have this notion that that curators are the ones that put up exhibitions, it's really kind of like the end product of what we actually do. A lot of the work of our staff are behind the scenes, no, and that curatorship actually means custodianship or looking after collections. So the National Museum has a lot of collections. So if you look at only the Natural History Museum, we have geological and paleontological collections. We have the Philippine National Herbarium, and then we have the National Zoological Reference Collection. So you can imagine the work that needs to be done for them to be able to conserve the collections and make sure that these collections are around in the future. No, so we're not just working for people now, but also for future generations. No, so the advantage of the museum compared to, for instance, academic institutions, no, is that we do have the collections and we are able to even kind of restudy them. There has been new findings, for instance, where because the DNA capabilities of some of the museums are already advanced, no, they're able to find new species from the collections rather than the those that traditionally we would find from the field, no. So it's very exciting. There's lots of things to do, and I hope that you can join us in this journey. We of course are challenged by the pandemic. The main thing is that you all have to be healthy. You have to keep a positive attitude, no? It's a dire situation that we are in, but see, like, look at what our scientists and our researchers have put together, something that, that we all can learn from and benefit from. So thank you to JD, who's initiated this program. As I said, this is a pioneering project for us, so that you could meet at least our curators online, those who are responsible for managing collections, and that eventually we will try to do this also for our other curators in other fields like architectural arts and built heritage, fine arts, archaeology, anthropology. So there's a lot more to be done, no? And that I hope, especially the young people out there, no, if you could also think of thinking in terms of careers in museums, no? More specifically, the National Museum. We need more young people to actually boost our creative and also our kind of innovative programs. No? So as they say, this pandemic is going to be around for a while, and we'll have to live with that. So our programs, you will find out, will be a blended one, similar to what DepEd is doing. We could perhaps open in May, depending on the outcome of the situation, no? And but of course it will be limited, and so we would like to have more programs online, and I hope that you will join us in those things. I just want to let you know that actually our chief botanist is about to retire, and I'm glad that he's joined us now. I'm sure he's very busy. That means also his birthday is coming up. So thank you very much, Dr. Luisito Evangelista, for joining us. And I hope that people will see that you will be a great loss to us once you have gone off and retired. He's actually extended. He was going to retire earlier, but we had to prevail upon him because we need to do much more before he leaves. So this is also our concern about the succession of, especially the knowledge that has been generated in the museum. We want to share them. We want you to think about how else the National Museum could be of service and relevance to you. So let us know. We've opened some of the possible avenues for you to get in touch with us. So please, let us know. So happy International Mother Earth Day, and hope that you could help us in our projects. We are I think one of the few museums that actually has a carbon footprint committee. So we are calculating our carbon footprint, because for us it doesn't make sense to advocate to you know uh, conserve our environment when we ourselves are wasteful in our daily activities or special programs. So please let us know if you have some suggestions on that matter. Everything is kind of really a pioneering initiative. So please let us know how else we could really work together so that we could conserve our planet. So thank you so much, and hope that you have a good session.
Right. Thank you, Ma'am Anna, for that warm welcome and some introduction to the museum as well as our collections. So at this point, so are you all ready to meet our curators? So in this session, we will not only have one curator, but you'll have 3 curators that you'll be meeting today. Sige nga, if you are ready to meet our curators, can we see smileys in our chat box? So the first, of course, has been mentioned already by Dr. Labrador. We have Dr. Evangelista as one of the list of speakers. One in the list of the speakers today. Thank you, thank you. All right, all smileys on our chat box. Thank you so much. So this will show you some or our speakers today, our curators in the National Museum of Natural History. So I'll just give a brief introduction about them and their careers so that you can, later you can dwell your questions into what field is this curator and the others. Okay? So let us meet Dr. Luisito Evangelista. So he is the Division Chief or the Curator 2 of the Botany National Herbarium Division. So Dr. Evangelista has been with us for over 30 years, more than 30 years. And his research focused on phytoplanktons and diatoms. And he had his PhD degree in University of the Philippines, Las Bañas. So we have Dr. Evangelista. Our next speaker for today is Miss Marivin Santos. So Miss Marivin is the curator for the collection in our zoology division in NMNH. Miss Marivin has been with us for almost 22 years already. Or sorry, more than 30 years also for Mamvin. So she is actually a graduate from University of Santo Tomas and is currently taking her PhD. Okay, her research interest is in the field of crustacean study, systematics, taxonomy. Okay, so the last but not the least, of course, our officer in charge, the one that manages our collection in the Geology and Paleontology division, Miss Maelin Randall. She's been with us for over 22 years, and his research interests, of course, are in the field of geology and paleontology for rocks. So all of these curators are responsible, of course, in managing our collections, conducting researches, and planning, how we can translate those researches in our collections to an easier understanding for the public. Okay. So let's start with our first. Mamaya makatingin sila live, no? When we pin them and spotlight them in our Zoom gallery. For now, so we'll have the part 1 of our curators as a curator program. So the Sustainable Museum. You'll see here how they answer some of the questions that you have put when you register. Okay, are we ready? So let me share my screen. And here's share some.
As a curator, you have to document and interpret the different plants that we have in the herbarium.
And it ensures that these collections are usable for future generations.
In interpreting and telling the stories and relevance of these collections for the people and generations to come.
Technicians, researchers, as well as the curator himself, is monitoring daily the different environmental parameters within the herbarium.
By not using dangerous or toxic chemicals in conservation works.
Humidity, it should be maintained, and every now and then we should examine that the specimens are free of pests or other insects that will destroy the collections.
Temperature and relative humidity in in the storage facility.
Primarily, we monitor the vulnerabilities of our collections to the agents of deterioration. What are these agents? We have fire, we have theft, we have physical forces, we have water, pollutants, light and UV, incorrect temperature, incorrect humidity.
So all of these plants from the field are preserved using different manners. Like for example, if they were collected long time ago, they will be preserved, or they have been in the field for quite a long time, they will be preserved in alcohol. However, if they were just collected in a day or two, they would just be placed in the freezer. With that, the plants or the specimens are definitely preserved or quarantined prior to their deposit to their bio.
Yes, depends on the specimen. In a way, yes. Like for example, when collecting in a marine environment, like that, our specimens are fixed in the field. We fix in with formalin or with ethanol.
Rocks, minerals, and fossils, the collections I handle do not undergo quarantine.
We want to be sure that the collections are being monitored and checked regularly.
We are constantly bothered by intense weather conditions. Intense rain causes flooding and leaking, which are both nightmares for us because they threaten our collections in the storage and in the galleries.
Technology is really a big factor to us. For example, we could easily communicate with other herbaria through emails, etc., and other things. We could also communicate with our colleagues who are not present, and example of which is meetings are often being held using a certain platform.
And also with the technology, it can help us, like, for example, we have this virtual exhibit. So even if we are in a pandemic, we can show our public that we have this kind of exhibit, and we can also impart the knowledge of our researchers to them.
Technology helps us by giving us access to our collections easily. From index card to log books, we now have a uniform database system.
One way by which we could do that is to have some exhibits that would go around, and through the help of some foundations, well, we were able to construct 2 mobile museum boxes wherein we are promoting the conservation of the forest.
Making the people aware of where in that area, contributing to our social media posts.
Incorporating what we want them to learn through interesting exhibits and social media.
As researchers, field collections is just a part of our job. We have to focus also on our collections. Every now and then, we try to look at old collections because some of the old collections might be misidentified.
Since we can go out in the field, we concentrate on doing analysis of our old collections in the laboratory, and we use polarizing microscope, we use X-ray diffractometer or Raman spectroscopy.
So we have to be abreast of what is now needed especially in the education sector.
As much as possible, we try to recycle the materials used in the previous exhibition by incorporating them in the new exhibition design, not compromising the quality, the flow, and the storyline of the new exhibition.
All right. So I hope that you've seen some of the questions that you have submitted to us in when you registered in our program. So those are the answers of our curators. But most of the questions that we receive is just one simple question. How do we define a curator, or what is a curator? So if you're going to look at it in terms of the definition, curators, of course, are the custodians or the keepers of collections in the museum. So they manage it. That includes other processes as well, such as preservations and how you keep these on the record and monitor those collections. So that is technically, the definition of curator. So we'll move now to our part 2. I hope you are actually using the chat box to have some of the questions that you'd like to ask them later on. So part 2 will be the research, collection, and exhibition part. So I selected 10 again, 10 questions. So each of our curators will have to answer these questions. Are the curators ready? Can I see them? Can we have our camera on? Po? Yes, thank you. So we have Ma'am Vin. Welcome. So we have Ma'am Mai from the geology.
Hello, everyone.
Thank you, Miss Mai. And of course, our dear retiring curator, Dr. Evangelista. So welcome po, sir. Okay, so
Welcome, everyone.
yan, hello. All right. So, sige po, may mga questions po. You can start typing them in the chat box. Sa YouTube, may mga nagtatanong din po since we are live. So, before we start with those live questions from them, sige po, we have selected quite a few kasi napakarami po nilang sinubmit. So, these were also collected already from our pre-registered participants. Okay? So, first question, what are the methodology that you practice in collecting plant herbarium specimen in the field? So I guess this will be answered by our curator for the botany division. Sir Tito, this is from Hira Hill A. Tolentino.
Okay, good morning, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank our director for greeting me. A few days na lang. And I'll be retiring soon. But anyway, I would rather say that this program is highly appreciated, wherein we could easily disseminate the work of the curators here in the National Museum. First of all, Mr. Tolentino was asking about the methodology, what are the things to do in collecting plant herbarium specimens. First of all, I would like to warn those people who are collecting plants that we should only do that for scientific purposes. Otherwise, our forest will be denuded. Secondly, we should abide with the rules or the law that has been established or passed by as sponsored by the Bureau, Biodiversity Management Bureau, the BMB, wherein before you do any collection, not only pro plants, but also on animals, that we should submit certain requirements, like, for example, the purpose, the proposal, the permit that should be come from the local place that you would like to do the collection, etc., something like that. So it is enumerated, and you can visit the website of the Biodiversity Management Bureau. Now, doing collection is not just making a harvest, comparing it to harvesting plants in the field. No, it's not like that. We should be selective. What are the things that are important for the identification of a certain material? Number one, does it have flower? Flower, does that plant have flowers? Those plants without flowers are useless because the flowers are the ones that leads to the proper identification of the specimen. We have discussed this matter in one of the seminars that we have conducted on what are the important parts of the plant that should be part of a collection. Now, you don't have to collect voluminous material, as I've said. One or two would be enough for a certain student or a researcher. You don't need to pile it up in your herbarium. You need to share it with us also. Okay, but for the detailed account on how to prepare and to do collection, we have in our YouTube, the National Museum YouTube, a short film regarding the collection of plant specimens, as well as that on how to prepare herbarium specimens. So, Mr. Litino, I think you just visit it. And then also you can write to us through our email so that we can help you and assist you in doing such a collection. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for that. Okay, so I hope Miss Hyra Hill Tolentino is here so she can, hear from our curator the answer to her question. Right? So next question for research. Are there new equipment that allow paleontologists to search for fossils without excavation? So this is for paleontologists. So Mamay, can we answer this one?
Yes, yes. Although very rare, some scientists in other countries are already using ground penetrating radar or GPR. And to those of you who are not familiar with GPR, it's a geophysical method which involves transmitting radio waves into the ground, and then these waves are reflected back to the surface by the buried objects, and then the computer compute the travel time it took for these radio waves to to from the time it went down to the time it went up. And then there are pros and cons. Kasi, for example, yung pros, medyo nakakatipid kami ng time sa digging or exploration, and yung cost naman ay um, medyo ano siya, medyo mahal siya at mabigat siyang dalhin sa field. Kasi minsan may instances now we went to the field and spent around 1 month and we found nothing, like nothing. So nakakatulong yung GPR para malocate yung mga kung nasaan ang mga fossils at not only fossils but also artifacts ng mga archaeologists.
All right, thank you, Mamay. So Miss John Paul, I'm sorry, John Paul, sorry, Abeliera. So there you go. That's the answer from our GPD OIC. All right. Thank you. Next question. Aside from morphological characterization, is the NMP equipped with molecular characterization as identification of a certain species? I think Ma'am Bean can answer this one. This is from Miss Maria Teresa Idolos Reyes.
Hello.
Hi, ma'am.
Hello. Good morning sa lahat. Yes. Our National Museum now is being equipped with molecular characterization as identification of a certain species. If the sometimes the morphological characteristics of a species overlaps, and we really don't know if this species is a separate one. So we will use the DNA or the molecular biology technique to separate or to confirm if this species is really a different one. Uh, for now, since we already have all the instruments and equipment needed for a DNA molecular lab, we are now in the process of arranging and organizing them. And we also have collaborated with other museums like the Museum for Naturkundi, where uh, I was trained to or to be familiarized with the molecular techniques, and also, of course, with the help of my professors in De La Salle University, they also helped me familiarize with all of these molecular techniques. Did I answer your question?
All right. That's a yes from Miss De Los Reyes. Thank you, Ma'am Bean. Yes, we have the NMP molecular lab po in the National Museum of Natural History. Thank you, thank you. All right. Next question from the pre-registered questions is yeah, this one is for Ma'am Bean again. Okay. How does the museum maintain its collections, especially the stuffed animals with fur and feathers? Again from Mr. Avellera.
Okay, so our collections have been there for some time. Yes, of course, since the oldest collection we have is from 1948, since after the war, it's the only remaining. But then they have actually uh, given us back all some of the specimens of the species in the museum. So we maintain them by regularly monitoring all the collections, not only the stuffed animals with fur and feathers, even insects and shells and everything. And for the stuffed animals, uh, we constantly brush them with a soft brush, so to get rid of all incoming pests. We always check them. And when we do see some pests, we quarantine them. We take them out from the collection, freeze them uh, for a month, and then treat them with paradichlorobenzene and ethanol. So, kailangan it's a regular checking. And to help us maintain this collection, we have to have our storage facilities and exhibition galleries with temperature control and relative humidity control. So we always check them so that meron kaming certain maintaining temperature, because once the temperature fluctuates, magkakaroon din ng mataas na humidity that will start the specimens being attacked by pests and molds. So, okay. So, ulitin ko, it should be regularly checked, uh, and everything, all the environmental parameters should be monitored so that we can always keep the animals in its utmost condition, and of course to let the future generations have them also.
All right, thank you for that. So really an interesting question. Most of us are wondering, how the stuffed animals, mostly large animals, are maintained in our collection. So there you are. So humidity, temperature, and other parameters are really, really important in maintaining and keeping these collections intact and safe from pests. So thank you for that, Ma'am B. All right. So next question. Perhaps Sir Tito can answer this. So as this is from Mr. Silva. So how will the NMNH, quite interesting question, no, avoid the same destruction to the national collections in World War II if there would be a World War III? So good. This is the problem that we have from our collections, since some are destroyed. So siguro ano lang siya, curious lang siya, no? May possibility kaya na how can we avoid such things? Sir Tito, do you
Uh,
mind answering
I
this?
hope not. I hope not. At any rate, well, World War One, World War Two, really, I would rather say World War Two devastated the National Museum collections. It used to be the Bureau of Science, under the Bureau of Science before. Now, if you're going to ask us, do we have collections before the war? Yes, we do have. How come were we able to maintain them or retrieve them from the burned building of the National of the Bureau of Science before? Well, actually, the Philippine National Herbarium established a network through the initiative of Dr. Elmer Merrill. So what he did was, or even now, what we do is to have some duplicates, meaning to say we have more or less around 5 up to, let's say, 10 specimens collected of the same plant, and we will keep 1 or 2 specimens of this in the herbarium, and the rest will be sent out to other herbaria. Now, what is the purpose of this one? Well, number one, look what happened to our collections before the war. It really burned. Nothing was left. Now, those collections that were sent outside the country were retrieved by our former director, Dr. Kisumbing, after the war. So the initiative done by Dr. Maelin sending specimens abroad was one way of maintaining or preserving our flora. Now, what is the oldest collection that we have? We have a collection made in 1850s. Okay, and this was the collection made by Vidal. Other collections were made before in the 1900s, but not all of them were retrieved. Only 30% to 40% were retrieved from those collections that were sent outside the country. But more or less, it gave us, it started the herbarium. By collecting them back from other herbaria, we were able to establish now the herbarium. And so other herbaria too are sending even their own collections, not only the Philippine collections, but also other collections for the purpose of, well, you don't know what will happen. Well, this is one way of establishing a network with the different herbaria. So sharing is the most important thing. Here in the Philippines, we share it with the other universities. But the type specimens should be with the National Museum or the Philippine National Herbarium. Thank you, Mr. Silva, for that question.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. So I guess the answer is we pray that this will not happen again, so that we'll have no problems in terms of, it will not be just museum, it will be affected by war. So syempre, yes, na collections of course are being spread out to other herbaria. So whenever these things happen, that such as are unavoidable circumstances, those collections will be preserved. Okay, so thank you for that question, Mr. Silva. Thank you. I guess Mamay has a follow-up answer for this. Just a short answer lang.
Okay.
Bye. All
So
right.
Sige. So during armed conflicts, cultural properties are destroyed accidentally or intentionally, and because the only concern is winning the war. But unknown to many, there are global global cultural property protection laws that prohibit this act. Pag daw intentionally mo tinarget ang cultural heritage, you're conducting bad military practice, sabi nila. And even si President Trump, when at the height of conflict with Iran, nag-tweet siya, sabi niya, we identified 52 heritage sites. Tapos tinreten niya yung 52 heritage sites ng Iran. And nagkaroon ng backlash all over the world. So, yung mga advisors niya sa Pentagon, in-advise siya na i-retract yung statements na yun. At ni-retract naman niya. So this only shows na kahit presidente, hindi alam na meron tayong global property protection laws. So going back to the question, I guess hindi mangyari. Wala tayong magagawa if ever mga atomic bomb or ano na yan. Sana wag mangyari yon. Pero kung slowly progressing war, pwede natin siguro i-prioritize at maitago yung mga pinaka-importanting collections ng National Museum. Not only NMNH, but the National Museum to a safer place. So, yun lang po.
All right, thank you. That's a good insight from Mamay. We have a law that actually protects these collections, but some unavoidable circumstances, we pray that this will not happen. Okay, thank you. Well, perhaps the bubble, NCR bubble is protected. Just kidding. All right, I think there's a follow-up question in YouTube that was raised from this question. Sorry, so this has been for a long question. Answering question. This question takes a little bit of time, but this is really interesting. Sabi niya, just for additional questions for World War III question. Does NMP have normal fire retardants and sprinklers, or will this cause damage to our collections? Mamay? Hindi ka pa. Nakamute ka po.
Yes, of course.
Yan.
We are fully equipped with fire retardants and fire extinguishers and anything you need to kill the fire.
All right, correct. Okay, sige. We have those, kaya lang very, of course, delicate and controlled ang paggamit nito because really for the sensitivity of the collections. So yes, so people in the Zoom, so I guess you'll have questions. Please put them in the chat box. Okay, we are noting them down in our Google document and we are seeing them all, including the questions from YouTube. So curators, wait lang kayo dyan. Medyo meron pa tayo. How many items do you have in your collections per division? So another interesting question. Just a quick answer from Botany. How many do you have, sir?
At the moment, we have nearly 300,000 specimens in our collection, and still more have to be accessioned because we are now in the process of transferring to the new herbarium cases. No? We have the compactors now, and this is one way of trying to database all of them.
All right, thank you, sir. So, Mamay, how many rocks and fossils and other GPD collections do we have?
Yes, we have approximately 28,000 pieces of minerals, rocks, and fossils in our collections, and 1,500 of those are exhibited in the galleries.
Great. All right. So, Ma'am Pin?
In the zoology division, we have around 800,000 of all specimens from shells, fish, insects, crustaceans, birds, mammals, polychaetes, and marine mammals.
All right. All right, thank you. So, ang dami, di ba? Just for NMNH, so those are how big the collections are in NMNH. And that is our natural history. So, really needs the protection, not only by our curators and those working in the museum, but of course, the general public. So, when you visit, when there is a chance that we visit these collections and our exhibits, so you know how important they are. So, yeah, please do the right thing. You know, don't touch them. Don't when you have paintings such as those or such as other collections. So yung mga prohibited things to do in the museum. So just follow the rules, right? So thank you, Miss AJ. Thank you. So last three questions for the pre-recorded ones, and then we will move on to the live question and answer. So this is for sustainable exhibitions. How do you decide which species and specimen to include in an exhibition? Sino ba? Ma'am Vin? Ma'am Vin, can we answer this? How do we decide which species or which animal? Thank you.
First, dapat may significance siya. Katulad ni Lolo, siya yung largest captive crocodile in the world. And then also, yung living fossil na crustacean. Because of history, it's the only living crustacean fossil in the Philippines. So, isa yun sa mga criteria. And then the curiosity aspect also, like yung mga poisonous crabs or poisonous shells, para ma-inform ang public. And then, of course, yung mga keystone species, like yung mga turtles, sea turtles, yung dugong, yung whale shark, and other endangered species para ma-impart sa public ang kanilang kahalagahan. So, kailangan natin siyang i-exhibit at para maging aware ang lahat sa kanilang significance.
All right, thank you. Mamay, would you like to add to this?
Okay. It actually depends on the storyline and the flow of the exhibit. Kung meron ng storyline, of course, we will choose the most unique and the most interesting and the most pleasing to the eyes na specimens. Pero kung sa regions, ang exhibition, ang pinipili namin, yung mga specimens na nanggaling din doon sa mga regions na yon para ma-highlight naman ang kanilang kung ano ang meron sila. So yun.
All right, thank you. Yes, we exhibit the specimen based from a story or a theme. So we don't just put things together. So when you go to visit a gallery, you'll see there's a story behind putting these species or specimens together. We hope we answered your question, Mr. Lawrence Bariring. Thank you. Okay, for the exhibition, last two questions. Is there an exhibit on how technology can reduce house gas? So we know who will answer this one. Technology that can reduce house gases? Mamay?
Favorite mo ako. Greenhouse gases ba to? I don't know. Kung greenhouse gases.
Yeah, I think so. I think,
diba? Not directly, pero we have exhibitions promoting renewable energy. Kasi diba greenhouse, yung mga fossil fuels ay nagkakos ng mga greenhouse gases. So, balanse naman. Meron kaming exhibitions on geothermal energy. We have wind and solar and hydropowers. So, on the other side, nando naman yung yung coal and petroleum. So, balance yung exhibitions. But generally, connected din sa question.
All right. Thank you. Sige po. Last question. Sige po. This is from last question lang to for for the pre-registered participants, yung mga sinubmit nila. So we still have questions live na na-receive natin from Zoom, from YouTube. Yan. All right. In this time of pandemic, how the different museums here in the Philippines given access to all the people who wants to go
pumunta ka kanina.
but they can't because of the pandemic. Reminder lang po to turn off your audio, please. Okay, again, I'll repeat, in this time of pandemic, how the different museums here in the Philippines give access to all the people who wants to go to museum, but they can't because of the pandemic. Sir Tito, can you answer this?
The question is, how are we going to overcome, uh, or how do we continue showing the people what we have in the museum? Well, as I usually say, we have a mobile museum that goes around the Philippines. What we have now is a mobile museum that goes around in the Visayas and another set in Mindanao. What are those in this mobile museum? What we have in this mobile museum are specimens of natural history and geology, that is zoology, botany, and zoology of a particular area. So that's one. How we try to go from one place to the other. So with the help of some foundations, we were able to share exhibits. So we are very happy that institutions before the pandemic are really giving a huge welcome to us. I would rather say. Another thing, what? How do we go about in this time of pandemic? What are the different aspects, or what are the things that we could do to show the people that we have these things in the museum? Okay, first of all, we always conduct webinars, workshops, even through different platforms. And every now and then, our agency posts updates on our Facebook regarding our collection. So this is one way of sharing what we have in the museum, because since the museum has been closed for quite some time now, and we cannot just open it because of this pandemic. So we have to use some alternatives in order for us to share what we have in the museum. Okay, thank you, JD.
Okay, thank you. Thank you po. Yes, yes, yes. We have virtual exhibitions. Okay, so we have 360 view of different galleries. So yun. So we're making museum accessible to the public. Not just in this time of pandemic, but ever since yung mga simula pa lang. We have mobile museum box that goes around different parts of the country. So yeah, to make this to make our collections more accessible. So thank you for that, Chia and Rapis. We hope we did answer your question. Okay, so I will now stop sharing my presentation. So this is your chance now to ask away. So I will read just the questions from our from the list that we've gathered from YouTube and Zoom. Okay, so question here, not just a question, so para sa mga curators natin daw, this is from Professor Celeste Resente. Not a question, but a comment, sabi niya. Thanks so much for this kind of webinar learning from the great speakers. Okay? Yan. So they are really having more knowledge now about our collections in the museum based from your answers. So, we'll start here. So, interesting questions and medyo common, no? But many of the pre-registered participants asked this question. So, perhaps a short answer lang from the three of our curators. This is the question. How does one become a curator? So, is there a degree? What degree do they get in school and such? So, ayun po yung tanong. How does one become a curator? What degree did they get in school and such? Ayan po. Sige po, let's start with the botanist. Start dito.
How to become a curator? First of all, my answer to that is your passion to do the work. Are you really in love with your work? Because, of course, you have your own expertise. Well, my degree, my MS, as well as that of my PhD, are on in the field of botany. So I'm really in love with botany. So with botany, well, to become a curator, well, it took some time with my more than 30 years in the museum. Well, I don't know. I have built up something. So have I established myself? Well, you really have to do a lot of work. It's really passion is my answer to that. Do you need a degree? Well, I would rather say passion is more than a degree. Of course, a master's degree is preferable, but a PhD is preferable, but a master's degree would be more than enough. Okay, thank you, JD.
All right, thank you, Ma'am Mai. Meron bang MS
Um,
Curatology, something? Joke lang.
okay. After graduating from college, I applied in the National Museum and started as a research assistant, and I rose from the rank, and now I'm a senior researcher of the geology and paleontology. Actually, natututunan na lang through trainings and through practice. You become involved with your collections, and you become alam mo yon, yung parang sinabi ni Doc Tito, passion na lang din na magstay at mahal at gawing parang trabaho mo or career mo yung pag-aalaga ng mga collections ng bansa natin. So ayun, kailangan yung natapos mo rin connected sa discipline na papasukan ng division. We have different disciplines here in the National Museum. We have archaeology, ethnology, we have arts, or we have in the built heritage. So yun, dapat medyo connected doon yung mga degrees na natapos nyo. Kami geology, zoology, and botany, biology, mga ganyan.
Thank you, Ma'am Mai. Ma'am Bean, just a short answer, or you'd like to add something?
Okay. Of course, me as a biologist, pero ang degree ko talaga, ang bachelor's degree ko ay zoology. And from there, nagamit ko ito sa museum practice. But of course, tulad ng sinabi ni Doc Tito, you must have to have passion. Kung wala ka namang interest sa iyong ginagawa o hindi mo love ang ginagawa mo, maring hindi ka mag-succeed. Tsaka, being a curator or working in a museum takes a lifetime of study. Hanggang ngayon, sa dami ng mga species, halimbawa sa crustaceans na lang, hindi mo talaga matatapos yon dahil palagi na lang may discovery. And our world has vast resources. And you must have a good imagination and aptitude for research. And your eye should have a very good detailing of the species at hand. So you have to be always be interested and always thinking about how you can maintain and keep the specimen collections intact for our future generation. Kasi bilang curator, tayo yung steward na nagme-maintain ng mga collections para maipasa naman natin sa mga susunod na generation. Kasi syempre, hindi naman tayo lahat magtatagal, pero ang museum as institution nagtatagal. So since 1900, sa kanyang pagka-establish, nandito pa rin ang National Museum. At without those curators na talagang passionate for their work, hindi natin maaabot o ma-maintain o makikita pa ulit ang ganitong collection ng ating bansa. Thank you.
All right, thank you. So, from Dr. Labrador, so no, in the Philippines, perhaps there is not quite a straight pathway that when you intend to work as curator, no? But there are other courses, according to Ma'am Ana, on MA Museology or Museum Studies abroad. Diba? But of course, the most important thing is that we apply theory to practice, and constant training is key, okay, as what our curators have done. Okay, thank you, thank you. Next question, we'll see. So, marami talagang interested to work really in the museum. So, kung yun yung tanong, no straight path. Really, you're supposed to have your expertise in your specimen or the species that you love, and then you work on it, and then training, and then you apply it to practice, and that's it. Thank you for that question from our YouTube audience. So, next question is for GPD. So, question is, how are you alerted if there are fossils that are of interest? Ano pa to? Yan. Siguro kung may mga fossils that are interesting, how are you being alerted? Mamay?
Okay. We actually receive so many emails alerting us that there are certain fossils there or in particular areas. Pero yun, mga ganon, through emails, through messages, through kakilala, nire-report nila sa atin. And then pinupuntahan namin yung parang feeling namin ay totoo naman. Marami din kasi na nagre-report na photo pa lang hindi na siya fossil. Marami nagsasabi na dinosaur bones daw. Alam naman namin na walang dinosaur bones dito. So, minsan parang natural formation lang ng bato or natural formation lang ng mga lupa. Pero, yun, yung mga ganon, ine-evaluate namin yung mga reported na sinasabi nila na sites, kung posible din ba na magkaroon ng fossil doon ng mga nabuhay noong unang panahon pa. So, yung ganon.
Okay, thank you. Ito muna, this is from Mr. Renerio Gentala. So, are there any initiatives to digitize the specimens for it to become more accessible to the public? Perhaps, sige po.
Yes, we are in the process of digitizing our collections, and like what I've said earlier, from logbooks to index card, we are now using a centralized database system, which is FileMaker Pro, and lahat ng divisions, yun na ang ginagamit. And eventually, pag medyo naayos na, we will open this to the public. But not the full information, of course. Yung mga yung mga basic information that they can use in their research.
Thank you, Mamay.
Yes.
All right, so more questions here. This is from Zoom, Marie Filona. So, good morning daw. So, does NMNH a citizen science program? Ma'am Vin, can we answer this one? Citizen science.
Inaayos pa lang natin yung citizen science program. And huwag kayong mag-alala, magkakaroon tayo.
Yes. Thank you. So yeah, it's already in the works that we, engage more with people, with the public to establish the program. Thank you. So, all right, this is from YouTube again, from Miss Geneva Orizar. The question is for exhibition. How do you make your galleries and exhibition inclusive to deaf communication? Yeah, deaf communication. So perhaps this is with regards to our friends who are physically challenged. Sir Tito, would you like to answer this one? How do you make your galleries and exhibitions inclusive to deaf community? This is deaf community.
This is for the persons with disability, I would say. Actually, we have a program. The Botany Division has a program before the pandemic wherein we have our participants as the blind, deaf, as well as that of the seniors. How do you go about that? It's really a challenge for us. After each workshop, it's a 2-day workshop for the blind and for the deaf, separately, no? I mean, so we had a tour. This is the challenge now. How would you give a tour to the blind? So, with the help of our colleagues from the CM Bond or the one is the guides, the museum guides, they are explaining it to them. So, we're trying to visualize it. Actually, if you're going to look at it, because we let the blind make a drawing, and this is really fantastic, and I'm surprised to see that masyado silang imaginative, I would rather say. So we keep on explaining them. And if possible, we have some specimens that they can hold so that they could feel what is really exhibited. Now, for the deaf, they can see what are exhibited, and they can read what is written in the different labels. So it's just a matter of having one or their teachers to be with them. And while the guide is talking, they're giving some sign language. Actually, this is one of the plans of our agency to hire some uh, uh, persons with who are knowledgeable to do some sign language. So I think this is one way by which we could do it. And then remember, we also have this braille. We are planning to have that too in a different exhibit so that they can touch it. So all of this will be done in the near future.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Yes, we have programs that are inclusive of physically challenged individual. We had invited Philippine School for the Blind, Philippine School for the Deaf. In terms of galleries and exhibitions, those are in the works already to equip us with ways on how we can properly communicate our exhibits to them. So thank you for that question. Really interesting. For some of the questions po, just note lang that these are for NMNH curators only. So if you have questions that relates to archaeology and other fields, we will have a separate program for you for that, for those questions. Sige po. Let's continue. So, mabilis ang oras. So, last 30 minutes, I guess, to answer questions. Okay, this is from YouTube again. How can some lay people like us help museums? Aside from visiting and patronizing, will the Museum of the Philippines be amenable to the public doing VR or website reconstructions? So, anyone from our speakers? How can lay people or ordinary people help us in the museum?
So can I answer that, JD?
Sure, sir. Sige po.
I would rather say, are you referring to making some volunteer works?
Yes, I guess perhaps not. They're pertaining to
Okay. Actually, the museum is accepting volunteers who would like to work with us. Volunteers in a way that during their spare time, they can share or they can do a helping hand to us. Actually, we have a program before the pandemic, uh, wives of the different ambassadors were doing some work in the museum. And some friends of the museum are also doing some work. They're distributed in the different divisions. If they're interested to work in botany, they will work with us. If they're interested in zoology, they will work with the zoology division. Yes, we welcome them. So this is one way of sharing your sharing something to the National Museum. Like
Thank you,
maybe
sir.
some of my colleagues could share something.
Okay. Mamay, would you like to add po? In volunteer works.
Volunteer works, yes. We students do volunteer works for us, and parang apprenticeship program na rin, and we teach them how it is to work in the museum setting, and what are the things we do, and we teach them technical uh, capabilities, like how to operate this equipment, and how to do analysis of the data. So those things, meron naman. Pag mga students, very generous ang National Museum to teach them kung ano ang pwede nating may.
Thank you. Thank you po. So I guess you should ask for an official request to us. So you'll send an official letter to the director stating, the services that you'd like to offer to the museum. Of course, that will be reviewed, and if you're qualified, of course, we will accommodate you as our volunteer. So thank you for that. So I think this one is a general question. I think Ma'am Vin can answer this. Does National Museum have a program for those interested to learn about curating? Maybe a workshop? Yan.
Yes, palagi namang may program ang National Museum. Hindi lang sa natural history, but also for the anthropology and the arts. So, last year, we had a webinar on the curating method and how to collect, preserve, and maintain the specimen collection. Yes, we do. Thank you.
All right. Yes, we do have workshops for that.
Yes, and JD, if I may add, pag nagpupunta kami sa abroad and attend trainings, we also conduct eco seminar, mga museum practices. And sinishare namin ang mga natutunan namin doon sa public, para magkaroon sila ng idea ng mga museum practices.
All right, thank you po. Yes, we have a regular program for that. And that's that I hope we answered you, Ma'am Alminda. So if you are interested, perhaps you can express your interest to us. Maybe we can help you in a way. Yun sa mga workshop in curation, museology, and others. Okay? From Zoom, does the museum make effort to lessen their carbon footprint? Sir Dito, Mamay?
Okay, we actually have a policy about this to lessen the carbon footprint, and we have a committee in charge with this. We have a committee in charge with this undertakings. Ayun, mga kailangan magtipid ng kuryente, kailangan magtipid ng mga papel na ginagamit, yung mga ganon. Maybe Doc Tito could add something.
Sir Tito?
Yeah, I agree with Mai. We do have some programs with regard to the carbon footprint. Actually, now the botany division is not using air conditioner. First of all, para walang spread ng COVID. And another thing, we don't have any visitors, so we just use electric fan. However, we try to maintain a certain temperature with our collection, and that we cannot avoid it, since the exhibits as well as that of our collection needs to have a certain temperature to be maintained. Otherwise, it could get spoiled or they would be destroyed.
Okay, thank you po. So from Mr. Henario from Zoom, who do we contact if we want to collaborate to research and access the digitized specimen amidst the pandemic? You can I will answer this na lang, no? So this is some of the general questions that we received. So you will have to write an official letter of request addressed to the Director General of the museum. Ayun po. But as of the moment, we are not allowing yet, access from access of specimens from people outside. We're not accepting or granting requests yet for viewing of digitized specimen because of COVID protocols. So, but if you'd like to request perhaps in some other schedule, we will see what we can do. Thank you. Okay. This is for from Zoom again from Kent Elson. Hi curators, are there any initiatives to making the collection databases of the Philippine National Museum available to the public online? Sir Tito, first.
Yes, we have some plans. Actually, this was already answered by my colleague Mai a while ago, wherein we are starting to digitize specimens, and then they will be uploaded soon in our website. Okay, it's in the process now.
So those specimens, geological specimen, botanical specimen, yes, and zoological specimens are being digitized. So yes, it's in the works on how we will put them out for the public use. Of course, there will be restrictions on which should be out and which should be privately accessed. So yes. Thank you. Wala na po bang tanong? We still have like 10, 15 minutes more. See in our Zoom. Ito po. Short answer lang po. How many newly discovered species have been documented and or preserved in the National Museum in the year 2021? So, this year. Newly discovered.
Year 2021.
Yes, sir.
Newly discovered. Well, from my, I don't think we do have that because we are not yet accepting specimens at the moment because of some protocols. We are just afraid that COVID might be, around the place. So maybe you can just view some of the publications, but at the moment we are a bit hesitant in doing so. So we don't have that at the moment, because you're talking of 2021, so that is from January to April.
Okay po. Last year meron pa po. Pero but this year medyo limited, so yan. Okay. Mamay, siguro ito. What specific equipment are needed in digitizing?
We just use a simple DSLR camera. Yan. Yun lang ang ginagamit namin sa pag-document ng mga specimens. A simple DSLR camera. And of course, dapat marunong yung kukuha. May ano siya, marunong niyang gamitin ang camera. Hindi lang basta kuha. Marunong siyang mag-ayos kung ano ang specific feature ng specimen ng kukuhanan. So yung simple lang. Wala namang special equipment for documenting. Siguro sa iba, sa botany or zoology.
Okay. For botany, Sir Tito, specific equipment po for digitization.
Simple DSLR camera. So actually we had a meeting yesterday, and this is one of our topics. One of the topic that we discuss is on, because what we have now in our file were scanned specimens. But when we try to look at it, these specimens, the resolution of these specimens are not worth uploading it, or for those who would like to see it in much detail, they're not that good. So we're going to do another set that is using a simple camera specifically to do digitization and documenting the specimens.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Vin.
Yes, we also use DSLR camera, but we equip them with macro lenses for the tiny specimens like ants or tiny crustaceans. So, yun. Katulad din ng sinabi ng colleagues ko.
Alright, thank you po. So, Hyra, so that's it. So, I guess for the botany, meron din na parang specific scanner, yung mga herbarium scanner, yan, specific for botany. But DSLR is also being used, yes. Okay? So, more questions po. Let's see from our YouTube audience. Okay, ito po. This is for all. What are some of the ways to inspect an item for any counterfeits? Yan, mga counterfeits. Or perhaps mga illegally acquired specimens, yung mga tanong ni Glenmar Jordan. This is from Zoom pala. Ma'am Vin? You're muted po. Yan.
Actually, hinihingan muna namin sila ng permit. O may approved permit sila from the authorized agencies like DNR or BFAR. So kung wala silang may pakita, that means that's illegally acquired. You know.
Mamay, sa ating mga fossils, ating mga minerals.
We determine the authenticity of the specimens by asking them if the specimens were collected in situ, doon mismo sa location. And ano pa ba? Yun lang naman. Kung na-collect siya sa in situ, most probably it's authentic.
Okay, Sir Tito? Would you like to add po? Or same
Yeah, my answer will be the same as that of Marivin. That if you want your specimens to be deposited at the National Herbarium, we are requesting you to submit a permit. Because the permit is very important, we are following the law that is on the Wildlife Act. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any more questions for research, collection management? I think that sums up, yung mga questions nila, very detailed or specific. So if you have personal questions, yung mga interesting questions lang that you'd like to ask them, so these are people as well who have hardships. I see some here. Can you share your experiences or maybe challenges? Ito po, some challenges as a curator researcher in the National Museum. Ma'am Vin, can you start with this?
Okay. As a researcher, curator, okay. Siyempre, doing research on the field is really quite a challenge. Kasi marami kang kakaharaping yung mga hindi mo inaasahan. Like, minsan naabutan ka ng bagyo sa area, so you cannot collect or go to the sea. So kailangan mo maghintay doon. And while doing that, siyempre, wala kang magawa kundi isulat na lang sa journal mo ang lahat ng mga observations mo about the environment. And also, when going up the mountains, very challenging din because not only may mga challenges na hindi ko masabi in public, pero may mga times na kung nandun ka sa bundok, may mga makakasalamuha ka, and then magugulat ka na lang na nandyan sila, but then they respect you. Kasi when you explain to them what you are doing there, naintindihan naman nila, so hindi ka nila gagalawin. And as a curator, syempre challenging ang pag-maintain ng mga specimens dahil iba-iba yan eh. Hindi yan, meron kasi tayong wet collections, dry collections. Although iba-ibang klaseng molds, iba-ibang klaseng pests, pag nasira halimbawa, nag-fluctuate yung temperature, medyo alerto ka. So yun lahat, mga challenging yan. And usually, challenging din yung sa pagsusulat. Like, Kailangan mo talagang, kung may mga newly discovered species ka, kailangan mo siyang i-illustrate ng maayos, ipakita yung mga characters na that makes it different from other species. So lahat ng ito challenging and yet fun for me because I love my work.
Thank you. Sir Tito, challenges as a curator researcher.
First of all, as researcher, well, all sorts of challenges will be encountered as a researcher. I can't forget the experience wherein I was in the mountain before, and then when I was doing some collection, and then when I opened my eyes and look at the back, oh, andyan na yung nakaharap sa mga baril. And so I can't forget that. It's a good thing that I was with my guide, which is a barangay captain. And so they tried to prevent those untoward incidences. Well, these are quite interesting things that you can record. Now, as a curator, you really have to double your work, doing research and at the same time looking at the different collections. Are they really properly monitored by your colleagues? So every day you have to remind them. Sometimes it's really irritating to their ears already. Oh, what happened to this? What happened to that? Where can you find this one? Where can you find this? These things every day you have to tell them. No? But this is part of your work, to be responsible enough as custodian of the collections. Okay?
Thank you. Mamay, challenges.
Okay. Sila sa fieldwork. Ako naman, sige, sa collections ako. One of the most challenging works I've done was, I guess it's transporting the specimens from one building to another. When we were just starting the NMNH and we transported our specimens, ang bibigat. Ang bibigat at ang lalaki from the current National Museum of Fine Arts to the National Museum of Natural History. Paano hindi magkakaroon ng displacement, paano hindi mawawala or hindi masisira or magkakaroon ng ma-break yung mga bato. Yun yung mga challenges na naranasan ko. At talagang nag-exert kami ng effort para maging maayos ang lahat doon.
Alright, thank you. So may question po sa Zoom, no? But this will be answered later dun sa pre-recorded natin ng mga interesting questions then about them. Sige. Pero ito po, may isa pa. What are the fun things naman about being a curator? Oh, the first is challenges. So this one is a positive one. So fun things that you are experiencing in curating or as a curator. Ma'am Vin?
Okay. Fun things. Kung as a curator, so while organizing all the collection, kung may makikita akong, halimbawa, yung isang researcher namin, papakita niya sa akin, Ma'am Vin, may nakita akong from Darwin. So, kung tataka ka, from Darwin, yung pala, ano nito, pangalan ng lugar sa Australia. So, makikita mo na noong unang panahon, nung bago pa lang yung museum, nagdi-deposit na pala rito. Nagsishare na ng mga specimens ang mga ibang museums din sa National Museum of the Philippines. So may mga comparable materials tayo para sa ating collections. And then, while doing also the rounds or the organizing of collections, may makita rin akong mga species na sa libro ko lang nababasa, and yet here it is in front of me. Tapos ito pala yun. Like yung talaga interested ako dun sa living fossil na ni Euglifia inopinata, na yung history niya na nakuha siya nung albatross in 1908, and yet after 67 years lang siya na scrutinize or napag-aralan na kakaiba pala itong specimen na ito. So that alone Parang bang si Helen of Troy, nagpunta yung mga research institute like the Museum, the French, just to find this specimen, and yet siyam lang na individuals ang nakuha nila. So yung isang individual binigay nila sa atin, yung iba sa Austria para may mga duplicates. Yun. So yun yung mga fun things. Marami ka pang madi-discover sa loob lang mismo ng collection. So yun, it's really fun.
Thank you po. Okay. Si Ma'am Mai or si Sir Tito? Fun things. Sir
Fun
Tito.
things is that, okay.
Oh, sige, Ma'am Mai. Go na. Go ahead.
Fun things is, I guess it's, you have direct access to the specimens. Diba? Yung mga nabuhay, hundred of million years ago, meron kang access doon. At of course, pag sinabi na, may nagtanong sa'yo, where do you work and what do you do? As, when you say na you work in a museum, parang ano sila, parang wow, ganyan. Parang proud ka ba? Yung parang, I don't know, pero proud ka na nag-work ka sa museum. Parang yung iba ay na-amaze sila to people working in the museum. And of course, yung everyday may access ka sa exhibit. Ang hirap-hirap pumasok ng iba to our exhibitions, 'di ba? Parang pumipila. Pero tayo, parang everyday nakikita natin yung exhibitions natin. So yun yung mga fun things for me.
All right. Thank you. Sir Tito, for the number of years you've had, so
Well, actually,
fun
the fun
things.
things is if you see the whole division very happy. I'm already happy about it. And personally, if someone from the division discovered new species, well, I'm already part of that. Masaya na ako nun. Even though I'm not the one who discovered it, at least my researchers are doing a lot of work then. Okay na sa akin yun. And the rest, I think Bean has already mentioned it, and and I think that's all for me. Tama na yan. Okay na yan.
All right. Thank you po. Thank you. I think that this may be our last question. Yun na po yan. Okay. Sige po. Thank you so much for all those who sent questions in our pre-registration and in our audiences in YouTube and here in Zoom. Okay? So, nakapagod na at may tubig ba ang ating mga curators? Medyo marami yung tanong. Alright, at this point, I would like to share a short pre-recorded presentation prepared, of course, by the curators, answering some personal questions that maybe you are interested on. Okay? Give me a bit time.
Well, they're thinking of the curators as cadaver specialists.
Some people do not know that there are many types of curators. The only curator they know is the curator that dig or make artifacts. They don't know that there are also curators that attend to the natural environment. I don't have any favorite. All of them are favorites because all of them are important.
I love ammonites. Imagine holding the remains or traces of animals that lived hundreds of million years ago. We don't have dinosaurs here in the Philippines, but we have ammonites.
The best museum that I saw is the Smithsonian.
I was very much impressed when I visited the Kigang Geological Museum in Daejeon, Korea. It's the first comprehensive museum dedicated to geology in Korea, and you can see their amazing presentations and amazing collections.
My dream is really to be a doctor of medicine.
I've always wanted to be a medical doctor. Until now, I love watching medical dramas and movies.
Well, if ever I see a collection that were made by, say, collectors that I don't even know, but I just see them in books, I'm very happy about it.
Because I'm a carcinologist, if I see my crustaceans, it sparks joy, really. Particularly that one living fossil, which is now exhibited in gallery.
The colorful and sparkling minerals that we have in our collections give me joy.
All right, thank you so much for to our curators. So I hope that this program actually answered your questions on how really the museum and the persons involved are responsible in securing that we help in the environment in a way that we can. And of course, our curators are our keepers or safe guardians of our natural heritage. So we hope that you've learned some things today from our curators based on their experiences in collection management, in research, and of course in exhibitions. So thank you so much. So with that, we will have a virtual awarding of certificates for them. So ayan. So we will have to virtually award the Certificate of Appreciation to Dr. Luisito Evangelista, of course, for sharing his expertise and invaluable time as a resource speaker for today. Given on 22nd day of April 2021 by the National Museum of the Philippines. Signed, of course, the Director General. Same certificate is awarded to Ms. Randall and to Marivin Santos. Thank you so much, curators, for having time. And thank you so much for your effort when we do the recording and all the things beyond. Thank you so much. Okay, so for the closing remarks, it is my honor and it's a great pleasure to introduce to you our curator for the Botany National Herbarium Division. So Dr. Tito, of course, is set to retire. Kailan effectivity, sir? I think tomorrow. So this will be the last public program of our curator before we parted ways. Of course, all the knowledge that Dr. Evangelista have shared with us, I hope that will help you in your goals sa mga audience natin, and all your efforts in keeping our collection safe and protected is well appreciated. So, closing remarks, sir? Sir Tito?
Uh, Closing remarks or retirement program? I think it's the same. Actually, I was telling JD, why should I be part of this program? It would just be one day before I leave. At any rate, I'm very happy and proud to be part of this program and share with you some of the things, my experiences in the museum. First of all, I would like to thank our Director General, Jeremy Burns, as well as Director Ana Labrador, for giving me this opportunity and also for the opportunity to be part of the National Museum. It's really, it's really, it really takes time for us to be a curator. It's not just when you go to sleep and then the next day you wake up, you're already a curator. No, of course not. You have to be patient enough to do the work. As I mentioned, passion in doing the work. Hindi lang ito basta, oh, I know how to manage people. It's not that. It's how you love the collection. That's why if I see somebody just throwing them, just, oh, halaman lang ito, inapakpakan lang yan. Of course not. I can't forget the things that we did for the children before. Then we had a workshop on the leaf art. I was telling the kids that we tried to collect those dried plants that you find around. Do not just burn them and throw them. Why? You can make art out of it. So, as curators, you have to think some innovations also. I would like to thank this opportunity to express my thanks to my colleague, especially to JD, for initiating this program. Actually, yes, she has lots of programs for the division, and I hope it could be carried out when I leave the museum. So, to all the participants, to all the listeners, to all those who participated in the workshop, thank you for attending, and I hope you learned something from this uh, program now. The National Museum is welcome to assist you in one way or another. So just write to us, address it to the director or to the different curators wherein your interest, wherein you are interested with. So again, thank you very much for attending to this program. Good day to everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sige po. So, this time, siguro group photo po tayo. So, if everyone can, turn on their video for a short time, perhaps 1 to 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds. And our friends from our technical team can help us. All right, so they're turning on their cameras. Thank you so much. It's been a great morning to spend with you. Spend it with you. Jen, are you there? Can we have a count? Okay na, all right. Hindi mo lang kami nakasmile, Jen. Isa pa daw yung nakasmile. Sige, I will count now siguro 5 seconds, all right? Smile. All right, thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Your certificates will be given to you when you submitted the evaluation form. The evaluation form will be sent in our link. Can we have the link now? All right, thank you. Please answer the evaluation form. Thank you so much, Mamay, Ma'am Vin, Sir Dito. Thank you po.
Thank you, JD.
Thank you, JD. Thank you, JD.
Thank you, everyone, for participating. Please stay tuned to our programs pa po. Marami pa. Especially next month. It's a Heritage Month. So thank you so much. Good day.